We live in a world that's just obsessed with pushing, right? With fighting, with conquering everything. But what if the real key to change is the exact opposite? That's what we're going to dive into today, this incredible power of non-resistance and how it can literally change your life. I mean, just think about your day so far. Seriously, did you have to fight your alarm clock? Battle the morning traffic? Resist that craving for a second coffee? Our entire culture is pretty much built on this idea of constant struggle. It's so ingrained, we don't even notice it half the time.
But here's a wild thought. What if all that effort, all that pushing and fighting is the very thing holding you back? What if the real secret to getting ahead isn't about trying harder, but about learning when and how to just let go?
Okay, so this brings us to our first big idea here, and it's a good one, the paradox of striving. Yeah, I know, it sounds totally backwards, but trust me, getting your head around this is the absolute first step. Now, let's be super clear. This is not about giving up. Not at all. It's more like intelligent engagement. It's about choosing your battles. See, instead of fighting against the current, getting exhausted, creating all this chaos, you learn to actually work with it. You let it guide you forward. All right, so if we're going to stop resisting, we first have to really understand what it even is. So let's get into it. Let's break down the anatomy of resistance. Okay, so at its absolute core, resistance is something we can call psychic friction. You know that feeling? It's that internal grinding, that tension you feel when reality just isn't matching up with what you think it should be. It's that gap between what is and your story of what should be. And listen, this isn't just some abstract idea in your head. Oh no, it shows up physically. That clenched jaw when you're stuck in traffic, replaying an argument on a loop in your mind, that tightness in your chest right before a difficult conversation. Yup, that's psychic friction in action. And this is so important. Here's the key insight. A lot of the time, our real suffering doesn't come from the event itself. The flat tire or the harsh criticism. It comes from our fight against it. Our resistance to it becomes a way bigger, more draining problem than the original thing that happened. So the big question is, how do we stop this cycle? Well, it all starts on the inside, in our own inner world. So let's look at a few ways to start winning this inner war. Okay, so when it comes to tough emotions, we basically have two paths we can take. On one side, you've got resistance, suppressing things, pushing them down, numbing out, or judging yourself for even feeling that way. But on the other side, there's allowance, and this is totally different. It's about noticing what's there, really feeling the physical sensations, and just letting the emotion run its course. I love this metaphor, it's just perfect. Think about it. When you resist an emotion, like sadness or anger, it's like you're building a dam. But that river of emotion, it doesn't just vanish. The pressure just builds and builds and builds until it either starts leaking out as, say, chronic anxiety or just general grumpiness, or it bursts open in a huge, explosive outburst. Okay, here's a super practical tool you can use. It comes from something called acceptance and commitment therapy, and it's called cognitive diffusion. It's simple. Let's say a tough thought pops into your head, like, I'm a failure. Step 1, just notice it. Don't fight it, just, oh, there's that thought again. Step 2, label the process. Instead of getting caught in, I am a failure, you say to yourself, I am having the thought that I am a failure. See that tiny shift? It creates some space. And step 3, just let it go. Observe it like it's a cloud passing in the sky. You can see it, but you don't have to become it. All right, so we've talked about our inner world. Now let's take this whole idea and apply it to the outside world, to our jobs, our relationships, all the challenges life throws at us. Let's talk about what it means to ride life's current. The ancient Taoists had a word for this, Wu Wei. It usually gets translated as effortless action. And again, this isn't about doing nothing at all. It's about acting in a way that's in harmony with the natural flow of things. Think of a sailor. They don't curse the wind, right? They adjust their sails to use the wind. That's Wu Wei. And this classic Taoist metaphor just makes it so clear. You've got the rigid, mighty oak tree. It tries to resist the storm with pure brute force. And what happens? It snaps. But then you have the flexible reed. It just bends with the wind. It doesn't fight the force, it yields to it. And because of that, it survives the storm. So here's a really powerful mental shift you can make. When you face a problem, do you find yourself asking, why is this happening to me? That question leads straight to resistance and feeling like a victim. But what if you asked this instead? What is this situation requiring of me? That puts you in a totally proactive, problem-solving mindset. It's such a small change in wording, but it makes a massive difference in your perspective.
Okay, let's get super practical for a second and clear up one really common misunderstanding. It's time to talk about the art of letting go.
So this is probably the number one objection, right? People hear non-resistance and they immediately think it means being a doormat or being passive or just giving up on your goals entirely. But that is a complete, total misunderstanding of what this is all about. So let's draw a really clear line here. Passivity, that's giving up. That's just rolling over. Non-resistance, on the other hand, is about accepting reality as it is right now so you can figure out the smartest way to move forward. It's the starting point for effective action, not the end of it. I mean, this analogy just makes it so obvious, doesn't it? You can't fix a flat tire by standing there and yelling at it. It doesn't work. The very first step is always accepting the reality of the situation. Okay, I have a flat tire. That acceptance has to come before you can take any kind of effective action. So after all this, what's the ultimate result? What's the payoff for this practice? It's nothing less than a fundamental shift in how you experience your life. You literally move from a state of constant grinding friction to a state of ease and flow. Look, if you take only one thing away from our whole conversation today, please let it be this. What you resist persists. The more you fight something, the more energy you feed it, the more it sticks around. But the very moment you accept it, you change your relationship with it. And that's when it starts to transform. So I want to leave you with a little challenge. And look, it doesn't have to be some huge, monumental life change. It can be something small. Maybe it's a nagging feeling you've been pushing away, a frustrating situation at work. Heck, maybe it's just the traffic on your way home. What's one small thing you can practice not resisting, just for today? Try it, and just see what happens.